A quick recording on how to edit the pages CSS using Springboard. I'm going to use the fast forward demo as an example over here. So let's get straight into it. So we go into our designer, or we go into our project that we're busy working on. If I show you claims management. Now for this particular one, I've enabled a few little hacks to help us set styling and set things like that. So this is a little example of a view where we want to have a new in view little cards, and we want to be able to style this. So what I've got over here is I've created a table, and what you'll see inside of the header, I've got card equals a class equals card and view. So this is going to be card and view class, and then this one is going to be the card and new, being new and being view. Then I've got under there, under class equals card header, and here class equals card footer. Over there we've got class equals icon, and there we've got class equals action icon. So here we can either put in an image or whatever it is, or in the CSS we could probably target that and set its background image and a bunch of details. Alright, so those are a few little overrides. What we also do is this is a type of cell, so we will add to the CSS the fact that it is a cell, and we'll also add the cell name to the CSS. The same thing for this being a table. We'll add, as well as we're adding card and new, we'll also add the fact that it's a table and also its table name, and we underscore that so that those are auto created CSS overrides or insertions. So let's go to the form now. So this is our little form. Now what we want to do is we want to run this thing in dev mode. So $SPM dev mode equals true. All right. What that does is that'll bring up the little sidebar where we can then go and add in our CSS right there. So I've already added some script, so don't worry about that. That does some of the targeting. Here's the style sheet that we're going to go and interact with. So if I just go inside of here and I go and I update that, that is now going to be the CSS and saved whenever this page loads. But you'll be able to work from it easily instead of having to refresh the page every time. You can go to your sources, all right, open the sidebar over here. You will see, so immersion on K2, you'll see files, you will see CSS, and there is the CSS for this particular one with the little hello that we typed in. So if we also have a look at this one over here, all right, what you'll see that we have over here is that underscore table 2, so that's the automatically generated. This is a type table. I know it's a table, but even in K2, if we change this to a div one day, the control is called a table, so that underscore will be the name of the type of control from a K2 perspective. Then I add the specific anyway. That's just added in there so that if you want to, sometimes K2 is quite aggressive on targeting, so you can use that to help force instead of using the word important. And then you'll see card login. Okay, so that's been passed in, so that's coming in there from that setting that we had over here. So if you remember over here, card new, right? That is CSS card, CSS new, and that's the value that's been passed in there. So if you look at the card new one over here, if you look at this particular one, so we go back up to the table, you can see there card and new coming from there. And then if you go and look at the top row over here, you'll see that is now got our class card heading inside of there based upon those settings that we did a little bit earlier. The same for the little icon over there. If you remember, we called that icon, and then this one over here we called that action icon in the name. So we should see in the class here, wherever the class is, there we go, there's action icon sitting inside of there. So that's how we're able to now target these things. Everything's got a class that we can target. Now what you can do is work inside of here to to do specific stylings and see exactly what's going on. So I'm going to drop that inside there, so you can see here. I don't need the specific over here. I'm targeting a card, giving it a box shadow. I'm targeting the card header. I'm making it a flex, putting space between. That's why icon, and that has gone to the sides like that. You can sort of see what's happening there. I've given it a height of 100, and we can even go and say make the center, something along those lines. The little images are center. Probably want to get the little action image to the right over here as well. You get the idea of that sort of stuff. So we can do that. Let's do dot action icon. Just make that blue. You can see a little action icon colors blue there. Maybe this whole thing over here we can set a background color, something along those lines. Alright, so sort of get the idea of what we're doing over there. Now if you refresh the page, you're going to lose everything that you've done there. So what you want to do is Control A, copy that. Alright, then go back into this little area here under the style sheets. Make sure you don't overwrite the scripts. Go into the style sheets, Control V, paste that in there, and hit update. Right, so once you've done that, you want to refresh your page, but the page will have the cached CSS. So just make sure on your network here you got disabling the cache, and you do a refresh. So now what will happen is the page is going to load, and it's going to apply that CSS that we just edited, with the page running, and then saved onto the to the CSS, and there we go. So now that's loading up with our new little card kind of look and feel that we got going on inside of there. All right. Now the other thing that you can also do is if you want to work directly against the CSS files and use Visual Studio Code, what you can do there is if you open up Azure Explorer. All right. Log in with your corporate credentials into this thing over here. Go to immersion sub immersion. Go to immersion on K2, that one over there. Go to blobs. Go to immersion dev. Oh, that's the wrong one. That's the one, sorry. Immersion on K2 dev. That's the one you want. Blobs. Those are all the local tenant ones. You go to files. You go to CSS. Organizers by last modified. There we go. So that is the same one. You'll set the same name as your file, as your header there. You just open that one. So we double click on that. It's downloading. Yes, to open it. That opens up inside of Visual Studio Code, and here we can start to work on it as well. So let's change that to red. You've got all the sort of features of Visual Studio Code now. Control S, so I save that. It'll pop up this to say, do you want to upload it? I say yes, I do. And then when I refresh that now it's got the red, and we can continue working inside of our code environment over here. And then saving it, and then just remembering to do the upload and save, and then effect our changes.